Project lead on this. Frederick announced. The room was filled with mixed reactions. Most of the family had no issues with Adriana, they just didn't approve of her husband. However, the others did not like Adriana at all since Grandpa Hernandez always favored her. That group was happy to see Adriana take on the doomed project. I approve, Grandpa Hernandez said from the head of the table. I believe that my Adriana is capable of completing this project. With her grandfather's approval, Adriana had no choice but to accept and thank her uncle for the opportunity. When they arrived at home, Gracia wanted to complain about what Frederick just did. But Adriana beat her to it and told everyone that she was tired and didn't want to talk about it. Cedric chased after her as she ran to their room. He found Adriana, crying in bed. He lay down beside her and hugged her. She faced him and placed her head on his chest and started to cry. They're doing it on purpose, Cedric. They want me to fail, Adriana said between sobs. It just seems impossible now, honey, but I'm sure you'll be able to manage this, he said, trying to comfort his wife. You should rest, you have a long day ahead of you tomorrow. Cedric kissed the top of her head as Adriana continued to cry. Eventually Adriana had managed to cry herself to sleep. With his sleeping wife in his arms, he sent a message to his father to meet him at the country club for lunch the next day. Chapter 21. After calming Adriana down the night before, Cedric had to leave home earlier than usual in order to make all of his meeting the next day. The product development director was scheduled to show him the 3 new products they were going to use to relaunch the brand. This meeting would last the whole morning due to the complexity of their plans. After that, he would meet with his father at lunch. He knew that meeting would be long as well, since the topic of the Elysia Mall project with Islands Inc. had its own set of problems. Since the presentation required all of the development and marketing team to be present, Ian and Camilla had set up a camera, microphones, and a speaker from which Cedric could be heard. Camilla would stay in the boardroom with the team members while Ian and Cedric would be at the president's office, watching the presentation from his laptop. Prototypes of the product had been sent to Cedric's office for his inspection and trial. Due to his desire to remain unknown to the public, Cedric and his assistants had to go through impractical and difficult steps just to set up one meeting. At 10 o'clock sharp, the whole team arrived at the boardroom. They had expected to finally meet their president. They were, however, disappointed to see Camilla and the setup in place. If you are ready, you may begin, Camilla told the team. Cedric was happy with the overall plans and presentation. He particularly liked the prototype they had given him. I understand it's a tight schedule, but I want this all done in a month. Cedric knew that he should have given his team longer, but the relaunch couldn't wait. Sir, we would like to get your approval for a list of endorsers we plan to negotiate with, the marketing director said. No need, we will be working with Eric Chan on this. Eric had caused him so much trouble the last time, he decided to maximize it. The girls in the other room all suddenly got excited. They had seen the viral photos of the actor with their coworker and had planned to ask him how he knew the actor after this morning's meeting. It seemed to them that Assistant Cedric was talking to the actor on behalf of Morco. Sir, based on our budget, we can't afford Mr. Chan, the director said with much hesitation. Don't worry about the budget, this will be outside of that. Just make sure to have everything prepared in 1 month. I'll have Eric's assistant contact you directly. You may go now, Cedric said, dismissing everyone. At Lights Entertainment's CEO's office, Ramabad sat at his desk while Eric lounged on the couch. That's odd, Cedric hasn't asked for the news about you two meeting to be taken down, Ram said as he checked his phone. As the owners of the top news and entertainment company, Ram had full control over what entertainment news was considered just rumors and what was reported as facts. It was very unlike Cedric, who was usually very low profile, to let something this big stay in circulation. Eric's phone suddenly buzzed and he sat up from the couch. Cedric was calling him. He showed Ram before eventually picking up. Hey little bro, Eric called all of his younger brother Miguel's friends. Little bro, you're with Ram, put me on speaker, Cedric said. Hey Cedric, Ram greeted over the phone. Since Eric decided to have his fun with me at the mall yesterday, he will be the new endorser of more phones when we relaunch in a month, Cedric said. That's great, Cedric, I'll ask our legal and finance department to draft a contract. I'll give you a big discount, Ram said with a grin. No discount, Eric, you'll do it for free. Cedric said coldly. Oh come on Cedric, my company still needs to turn a profit, Ram complained. Just think of it as an exchange. I'm giving your sister Veronica so many projects and paying her so much money, I should get something back in return, Cedric said. But that's Veronica's money, she won't even buy me a cup of coffee from Starbucks, Ram whined. Well that's the deal, Cedric said. Definitively. I'll do it, Eric said without even consulting Ram. Great, I'll give my assistant your number. Cedric then dropped the call. When the employees of Lights Entertainment heard that their top actor, Eric Chan, had decided to do an endorsement for free, the whole office went into a frenzy. What kind of person could convince someone like him to do something for free? At Morco, Cedric decided to give Camilla a treat and put her in charge of coordinating with Eric Chan. She was beyond ecstatic. She, like every other woman in Moore Company, was a big fan of Eric Chan, and now she had his personal number. 22 Chapter 22. Blank. 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 Enjoying Never Judge. Join my Discord server. https://discord.gg/pxnt6uh. Blank. 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 At lunch, Ian accompanied Cedric to the country club to meet with his father. Emilio Reyes had just finished 9 holes with the Lawrence, Sebastian, Abad, and Chan family patriarchs and was once again tanned from playing golf the whole morning. Hey Dad, you haven't even retired and you're already spending your mornings in the golf course, Cedric teased as he took a seat across his father. Give me a grandchild and I'll be here less often, his dad teased. Adriana and I are not in a hurry, Dad. Cedric laughed. So what's this issue with Alicia Mall you messaged me about last night? Emilio asked his son. Dad, have you been giving the Hernandez family a hard time on this project? Cedric confronted his father. Emilio smiled. Well, there is very little I could do for you. From afar, those Hernandezes refuse to accept you. What right do they have to look down at the heir of the Reyes group? Emilio said with a twinkle of anger in his eyes. He did not fully agree with poverty training, but he did understand the need for it. He himself went through it as a young man and he became a better person and businessman because of it. They're giving the project to my wife, Cedric said with a grin. I thought they were family. Do they dislike her that much? Emilio asked his son. Mostly Frederick and his kids. I think they are threatened, Cedric admitted to his father. This makes me glad that your mom is the only child of her generation. No scheming cousins, his dad teased. Priscilla Claren Reyes, Cedric's mother, continued to run her family business despite having married into one of the richest families in the country. As a matter of fact, she sometimes seemed busier than her husband. When Ayana had grown up, she had helped in managing both the Claren and Reyes businesses, giving her vast knowledge in different industries. As the last Claren, their businesses would eventually be merged with the Reyes group, making it much larger than it already was. Not all her cousins are bad, Dad, Cedric said. They all don't like you, right? Emilio asked his son. Cedric could only nod in reply. Dad, I don't want to just hand it to Adriana. Her family will get suspicious, Cedric told his father. Don't worry, I know what to do. You do know that you could have just told me all of this over a phone call, right? Emilio asked his son. I missed you, Dad, Cedric smiled. Well, while you are here, let's sign some transfer documents. Your sister got hers at 20, so you should get your shares by now. Emilio called Marco So, his assistant, over. For the first batch, 25% of Crescenta Land, 10% of Alicia Corp, 15% of Manila Bank. Sign them, Emilio said as Marco handed Cedric a pen and the documents. For the Claren Holdings, your mom still owns 100% of all of it, but of course she plans to eventually pass it down to you and Ayana, Emilio explained. If you want anything done with Alicia Malls, you just need to tell me and your sister over the phone. I know the Hernandez family has been eyeing expansion through our malls for a long time now. If it's something as small as this partnership, just ask Ian or Camilla to give the vice president a call, Emilio told his son. Alicia Malls was the largest mall chain in the country. They had over 50 malls spread out in the largest cities and provinces. It was a business under Alicia Corp that was owned by Reyes Group. At Ayana's request, she had given up shares in Chrysantaland and more company, in exchange for more shares in Elysia Corp. At Islands Inc., Adriana was holding a meeting with the team that was initially handling the Elysia Mall project. They were telling her how the management of Elysia Corp. Had been blocking them at every turn. Miss Adriana, there is really nothing we could do. Elysia Corp. Is owned by the Reyes Group. For some reason they seem to be blocking any improvement we make. They have raised our rent 2 times this year. Honestly, we have more to lose in this than they do, one of the team members confessed. I got one of the assistants to speak once. And according to her, the order to block any project from Islands Inc. came from the very top, another member told her. Why would the president of Reyes Group want to suppress Islands Inc.? We are just a small company compared to them. Adriana wondered out loud. Miss, we actually wanted to ask if anyone from the Hernandez family has managed to offend anyone from Reyes Group. A shy girl asked. I'll look into that. For now, could you set up a meeting with me and the management of Elysia Malls? Adriana asked. Miss Adriana, I don't think I need to call them, the girl said slowly. Why? Adriana wondered at this girl's odd behavior. I just got a message from the manager's assistant. They want to meet with you later today to hear your pitch, the girl said, showing the message on her phone. Everyone in the room was shocked. They had been working on this project for years. And yet the exact same day that Adriana is placed as the project head, it seems that the ban on Islands Inc. was just lifted. Quick, prepare the documents. Tell them we'll be there by 4 p.m., Adriana told the team. Chapter 23. By the afternoon, Cedric was exhausted by all his meetings. He had barely sat on his desk when Ian informed him that his father asked him to go to our tower to join a meeting. He quickly changed to something more fashionable. He could already hear Iana scolding him for going to our tower in ordinary work attire. Sir, your father asked me to prepare this face mask and glasses for you. He said you should wear it to the meeting, Ian said, handing a bag over to Cedric. I guess I'll be attending this meeting as the heir to Reyes Group. Cedric sighed. What floor will our meeting be at? At the 9th floor, sir, Elysia Corp. Ian told him. It's the Islands Inc. meeting, isn't it? Cedric asked Ian. Yes, sir, Ian confirmed. I'm guessing my wife will pitch the project and I'm there to approve it. My dad is a horrible person, Cedric said, laughing and shaking his head. Sir, your father also said that we should come in through the main entrance rather than through the basement. He wants to use this to announce that you are back, Ian told Cedric. I really don't have a choice in this matter. Cedric laughed. He took out his phone and quickly sent a message to Ram Abad. Are your reporters and photographers at the entrance of our tower? Ram replied. We're all gonna arrive together, winking face. This is gonna be fun. Cedric suddenly noticed that his car, along with 4 others, had formed a caravan. Not far away from the 4 cars were 2 lead vans and 2 tail vans. They were probably filled with bodyguards. Due to his low profile, Cedric never used bodyguards. However, his friends and sister always needed some. Cedric guessed that the 2 cars in front of him were Miguel Chan and Ramon Abad. This was done on purpose to represent business partnerships that the families had formed. The 2 cars behind him were probably Raymond Lawrence and Alexander Sebastian, showing the underground and political influence that the Reyes family had. Cedric opened their group chat and sent a message. The old men were doing more than just playing golf this morning. Ray Lawrence, they even managed to put symbolism into how we arrive. Ha ha ha. Ram Abad, Dad contacted all the major news outlets last night. We're gonna show this city how to make a real entrance. Miguel Chan, Dad pulled me out of an operation for this. I hate you, Cedric. You owe me dinner. Alexi Sebastian, and yet no one will see Cedric's face. Cedric Reyes, are we wearing matching watches today? Ray Lawrence, matchy. Alexi Sebastian, grow up, Ray. Miguel Chan, of course we are. I wear mine all the time, hoping the paparazzi catch it and reveal your identity by accident. Cedric Reyes, I'm sure there are more of these watches. Ram Abad, nope, Iana bought them all out. Cedric grinned. It seemed what would reveal him to the public was his watch. When they arrived at the driveway of our tower, the press was already there with their cameras up. Cedric wore the face mask and glasses. He took a deep breath and nodded to Ian. Ian got out of the car and opened the door. As soon as the door opened, camera flashes started to go off. The press were disappointed to see that The heir of the Reyes group had hidden his face, but from his aura you could immediately guess that he was a powerful man. A little bit ahead of them in the lobby, Adriana and her team were wondering what the commotion outside was about. Oh my, guys look, I think that's the Reyes heir, and look behind him, it's the 4 other princes, one of the team members said, pointing to the driveway outside. Miss Adriana, I think you're our lucky charm. Not only did we manage to get a meeting with the management of Alicia Malls, but we even got the chance to see the 5 princes today, a girl said excitedly. After that day, everyone in Islands Inc. started to believe that Adriana was Islands Inc.'s lucky charm. Outside, Ray ran up to Cedric and whispered, "Isn't that your wife?" Cedric looked up and saw Adriana standing in the lobby of our tower. The paparazzi managed to capture a photo of the way Cedric looked after Ray pointed Adriana out. His eyes were full of love. Sir, are you back for good?" a reporter asked Cedric. "Mr. Reyes, many women want to know, are you dating anyone? Are you engaged? Are you married? Mr. Reyes, will you be taking over Reyes group now? 5 princes, please tell us how you all became friends. Mr. Reyes, what role will your sister, Ayana Reyes, play in Reyes group?" The reporters flooded Cedric and the others with questions. Not even Ramabad could have expected that Cedric's return would excite people this much. "Please let Mr. Reyes pass through. The family will hold a press conference later on," Ian said quickly, helping Cedric into the building. The security guards and bodyguards blocked the paparazzi from entering our tower. "That was crazy," Miguel shouted while laughing. He looked at Cedric, who still hadn't said a word. He suddenly realized that Adriana and her team were still standing at the empty lobby. Chapter 24. Adriana stared at the man standing in front of her. Something about him seemed very familiar, but at the same time it felt very different. "Mrs. Reyes, we meet again." Raymond Lawrence called from behind Cedric. "Mr. Lawrence, I didn't expect to see you here," Adriana said, shaking Ray's hand. "We're just here to accompany our friend back, right, old friend?" he asked Cedric. Cedric simply nodded in reply. "Mrs. Reyes, what brings you here?" Ray asked. "Oh, I have a meeting with the management of Alicia Mall to pitch a partnership," Adriana told Ray. "Oh, that's perfect, we are going there too. Join us." Ray could feel Cedric's piercing stare behind him. "Could my team come along?" Adriana asked. "If we left the bodyguards and just brought Assistant Ian along, we could all fit," Ray said, counting the number of people that would be on the lift. "Oh hey Ian," Adriana waved. She knew Ian to be one of Cedric's few friends from the office. Ian suddenly froze. If Cedric hadn't sent an elbow to his side, he wouldn't have said hi back. They all got on the lift and went up. "Since when have you been working at Reyes Group?" Adriana asked. Ian looked at Cedric to ask for permission. Cedric gave a slight nod. "Moore Company is a subsidiary of Reyes Group. Mr. Reyes is the president of Moore Company," Ian explained. "So Mr. Reyes knows my husband?" Adriana said, directing the question to the businessman that remained silent the whole time. Cedric gave a slight nod again. "Oh, we're here," Miguel announced, a bit too enthusiastically. Alexei gave Miguel a look that made his friend cower behind Cedric. "We'll see you later then, Mrs. Reyes," Ray said, bidding goodbye to Adriana. When the princes left their earshot, Adriana's team started to talk excitedly. Who knew they would get to the 5 princes and even ride the elevator with them? "Miss Adriana, how do you know them?" one of her team members asked. "Well, Miguel is a friend of my husband, but when I met him he was still studying. Ian is my husband's best friend at work, and Mr. Lawrence is also my husband's friend. But I met the other 2 when I was shopping," Adriana confessed. "Miss Adriana, isn't your husband just an assistant? How can he have so many powerful friends?" someone asked. "I honestly have no idea," Adriana shrugged as they approached the Alicia Corp's receptionist. Soon they were brought to a room where they would pitch their idea. "Good morning, Miss Adriana, I'm the VP for Alicia Corp. You'll be presenting today to me and Mr. Reyes, the heir of Reyes Group. He is also one of the largest shareholders in Alicia Corp. I think he brought some friends along, but don't worry, I'm sure you will do well," the vice president said with a smile. The employees of Island S Inc. were shocked. In the past, not only was it hard for them just to get a meeting, but most Employees of Alicia Corp were cold to them, and yet now, Adriana was simply put in charge of the project, and it seems their fortune had completely changed. Cedric and the boys soon entered in. Took their seat. Ray leaned back and winked at Adriana. When Cedric saw that, he threw a glare at Ray, who just laughed it off. Cedric gave a slight nod again, and Ian announced that Adriana could begin her presentation. Adriana and her team found it odd that Mr. Reyes kept his face mask on throughout the presentation. Nonetheless, she continued showing her plans for the partnership. She expected that in the middle of the presentation Mr. Reyes, or the VP of Alicia Corp, would ask questions, but there were none. They simply listened intently and nodded at what she said. When she was done, she saw Mr. Reyes write something in his notebook and shows it to Ian. Miss Adriana, Mr. Reyes is happy with your plans. We won't change anything. Alicia Corp would be more than happy to pursue this partnership, Ian announced happily. The other 4 princes wanted to bust out laughing. Of course Mr. Reyes would agree 100% with her plans. He gave his wife everything. The employees of Islands Inc. and Adriana were in shock. They had never heard of any company getting what they wanted from Reyes Group. They always drove hard negotiations where they often came out on top. What are the next steps? Adriana managed to ask. Mr. Reyes wrote again and showed it to Ian. Mr. Reyes said that you will be working with the VP on this directly. He hopes that this will be a fruitful partnership for both parties. Please send us the contract as soon as possible so that the VP can sign. Cedric had thought things through. He would not sign the contract. If he did, Adriana would immediately find out. Thank you Mr. Reyes, Adriana said right before she and her team left. When they got back to Islands Inc. they were ecstatic. The first thing Adriana did was call Cedric. Her team wanted to go for dinner and drinks. So, how'd it go? Cedric asked. You knew, and you didn't tell me. Adriana accused. I'm not allowed to tell anyone who I work for, but I saw his schedule and Ian told me. Cedric at that time was at Nouveau, where his friends were eating and drinking at his expense. Well, I got it. The team wants to have dinner and drinks, Adriana told him. Oh, all right, I have to work overtime too. I'll see you at home, Cedric asked. Yeah, I'll see you, Adriana said, dropping the call. Miss Adriana, could we eat at Nouveau? This is a really big deal and we need to celebrate properly, one of the team members suggested. Good luck on getting a reservation, someone commented. I'll give it a try, Adriana said, calling the number for Nouveau. When the manager realized who was booking a table, he immediately told one group that they had overbooked in order to accommodate Mr. Reyes' wife. When Adriana's team heard that she got them a table, they quickly returned to our tower to eat. 25 Chapter 25. Blank. 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 Underscore underscore. Don't forget to vote for Never Judge with your power stones. Blank. 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 Underscore underscore. Ha ha ha, I enjoyed torturing Cedric so much, Ray said loudly as they ate their meal. I thought he was going to kill you, Miguel said. If he hit on my wife, I would definitely have punched him, Cedric said, shaking his head. You guys are children, Alexei commented about his friends. Hey look guys, we are the #1 topic on social media. I mean, it's across platforms. And so many hashtags, Ram said, scrolling through the iPad his assistant just handed him. Who wants to break the internet again? Ram asked, holding out his phone. What are you planning? Cedric asked. Well, we could just post a selfie. I think people will eat that up, Ram suggested. We should make Cedric an official page. We could just put Mr. Reyes as the name, Miguel said. That's a stupid idea, Cedric said. No, it's brilliant. Ram, besides being a rich heir, was a PR genius. He could make anyone popular. It was under his management that Lights Entertainment reached new heights. Of course, having Eric Chan helped too. Ram quickly made accounts for Cedric on various social media platforms. He then nagged the boys to take a selfie that they would all post. Of course, Cedric was wearing his mask and glasses. The moment the photo hit social media, everyone was thrown into a frenzy. The boys had tagged the Mr. Reyes account. Ram had just created, and in a few moments the account had 1 million followers already. These comments are hilarious, Miguel said, reading through them. This one on IG says, please tell me the 5 princes are all single, Mr. Reyes. I think I've fallen in love with your eyes. Miguel burst out laughing. I think the mystery made everyone want to see more of Cedric, Ray said while looking through the comments on his post. Are the sisters coming over? Cedric asked. Yeah, Eric too, I'm pretty sure Ayana is fuming now, she isn't here to join the fun. Ray said, still scrolling through the comments. Mr. Cedric, I just spoke to the manager. It seems Mrs. Reyes and her team reserved a table here for tonight as well, Ian told Cedric. Did they give her a private room? Cedric asked. Yes, sir, Ian confirmed. That's fine, we can manage to avoid her. I'll just sleep at the old house tonight. It would be awkward if I arrived in my car. Cedric said. Do you think we'll bump into the 5 princes again, one of the island's employees asked. Let's not push our luck, another told her. The elevator door opened and their jaws dropped. Inside was Eric Chan and 4 girls. He even had his arm on the shoulder of one of them. Mrs. Reyes, please join us, Eric said. With a wink, the girls on the elevator giggled. Adriana's coworkers pushed him in. They weren't going to pass on the opportunity to ride the same elevator as Eric Chan. Mr. Eric, can we take a photo with you? The employees asked. The girl who had Eric's arm on her shoulder took it off and said, why don't I take the photo for you? Sure, the employee said. Let's take the photo when we get off the elevator, Eric suggested. At the floor of Nouveau they stopped at the entrance to take photos. Miss, would you like us to take photos of you with Mr. Eric? An employee asked the girls who had arrived with Eric. They giggled. We'll pass. Bye Mrs. Reyes, I don't know if you remember us but we were with Ayana that day. The girls waved as they left with Eric Chan. Adriana suddenly realized why they looked familiar. Adriana saw them enter the room where she and Cedric had lunch last time. Adriana and her group were led to a room at the other end of the restaurant. This room was not as beautiful or elegant as the room where she and Cedric had their meal, but it was still amazing. The team members began taking photos as Adriana ordered food and drinks. She felt her phone buzzing. It was a message from Cedric saying he couldn't come home tonight due to work. After having so much fun that night, most of the team members were happy and quite tipsy. When Adriana went over to settle the bill, the manager told her that it was on the house, a gift from Alicia Corp. Adriana didn't think much about it and thanked the manager. Adriana herself was quite tipsy. When she was leaving the restaurant, she thought she saw Cedric enter a private room. She followed the man, but before she could enter she was pulled back by Ian. Adriana, are you all right? He asked her. Yeah, I just thought I saw Cedric. What are you doing here? She asked Ian. I'm accompanying Mr. Reyes. Cedric is still in the office. Mr. Reyes and I are going back there. He lent us a place to stay for the night since we are swamped with work, Ian explained, hoping that it would help his boss. Oh, all right, I'll leave now, Adriana said, bidding him goodbye. Ian entered the room and told Cedric that his wife was leaving and that Adriana had almost seen him. Cedric nodded. He was concerned about his wife, who seemed to have drank quite a lot. Chapter 26. Adriana woke up in her room, and she couldn't remember how she got home. When she came down for breakfast, she was surprised to see Cedric home. She gave him a hug for some reason. I thought you weren't coming home last night, Adriana said. She clearly remembered Cedric telling her that he was so swamped with work and that he wouldn't be able to come home. I was worried about you. You're such a lightweight when it comes to drinking, Cedric said, kissing the top of her head. For once I agree with Cedric. If it hadn't been for him you wouldn't have made it home, Gracia said. Last night after Ian had told him that Adriana seemed quite intoxicated, he had the bodyguards at the lobby keep an eye on her. When they reported that Adriana was sending off all of her employees first, Cedric headed down. It was a good thing he had come down. As he approached her, she suddenly passed out. Since he didn't know if Adriana had brought her car, he had no choice but to bring her home in the Maserati he used earlier. Luckily, everyone at home was asleep by the time they got back and no one caught a glimpse of the car he had used. Adri, I didn't know when your car was, so we took a cab going home, Cedric told her. I left it at the office since I was worried I would get drunk, Adriana told him. All right then, you should eat or we'll be late, Cedric said, pulling her to the table. At Morco, Cedric was having an extremely busy week with the relaunch and the Elysium Mall project in his hands. He didn't even have time to go out for lunch. Ian and Camilla just bought food and they all ate together. At first Ian and Camilla refused to eat with Cedric in his office, but Cedric insisted. He thought it would be lonely to eat on his own. Within the week, Ramabad had released a statement from Lights Entertainment announcing that Eric Chan would be endorsing more phones. With this piece of news, more eyes turned towards Morco. The employees of More Company, on the other hand, were stressed beyond belief. With the high standards their president had set, most of them had ended up doing overtime every day for the past week. They didn't feel bad though, as every day when they would leave the office they could still see the lights on in the president's office. At least they knew that the president wasn't just goofing off. Before they knew, it had been a week since the Hernandez family meeting. Cedric and Adriana, who had been seeing each other less due to their workloads, took this opportunity to spend some time together. They both got some time off after work and had lunch together. Are you presenting the Elysium Mall project later? Cedric asked Adriana. Yeah, would you know if your boss has any comments on the last proposal we sent? Adriana had hoped that instead of Ian she would be working with Cedric, but Mr. Reyes had already assigned it to Ian, and she had no right to ask otherwise. I think he's alright with it. Ian should have given you a call by now. Cedric had told Ian to finish the Elysium Mall project within the day. As if on K, Adriana's phone began to ring. It was Ian with the final plans and approval. After lunch they took a walk in the park and went shopping in the mall. Cedric bought Adriana a bunch of new clothes. When she asked if he had money to pay for it, he simply reminded her that he had gotten promoted. At the end of the day, the couple headed to the Hernandez patriarch's home in good spirits. As usual, Frederick updated the family on the company status, and other family members gave their reports. What surprised Adriana was that there was no mention of the Elysium Mall project. Uncle, aren't you forgetting to update everyone on the Elysium Mall project? Adriana asked. I was hoping to spare you the embarrassment, Adriana, but since you are insisting. Frederick paused to take a deep breath. Adriana spent tens of thousands throwing a party at Nouveau. This is despite not yet securing the contract to the Elysium Mall project. Frederick accused. Is this true, Adriana? Grandpa Hernandez asked with disappointment painted all over his face. I did not use company money in Nouveau. Also, the contract has been signed with Elysia Corp. They agreed to everything we asked for, Adriana said, contradicting everything Frederick accused her of. That's a lie. Elysia Corp. never agrees 100% to another company's terms, Frederick said in disbelief. It seemed no one had thought of telling him about their victory at our tower. Adriana, do you have proof? Grandpa Hernandez asked his granddaughter. Adriana looked at Cedric. She didn't want to bother Ian, but getting that contract was the only proof they could get. I'll call Ian, Cedric whispered to her. I can prove it, Adriana declared as Cedric gave Ian a call. Luckily, Ian was still at the office when Cedric called. The only problem was that the VP of Elysia Corp. had not signed the contract yet. Although Cedric could sign it, Adriana knew his signature, so Ian had to pass by the VP's house and have him sign the documents before bringing it to the Hernandez family. When Ian entered, he was treated with respect by everyone in the Hernandez family. He was, after all, the assistant to the heir of Reyes Group. Miss Adriana, my boss apologizes for the delay. Here is the signed contract. If everything is in order, we will begin the partnership immediately, Ian said as he gave Adriana the contract. The rest of the family was in shock. It was like the Reyes Group apologizing to Adriana. See, uncle, I did get the contract. You can check it. Cedric and I are leaving. With that, Adriana stomped out. Chapter 27. After the incident at the Hernandez's old house, many people in Islands Inc. began to treat Adriana very differently. In the past, she wasn't even treated as if she was a member of the Hernandez family. Many saw her as an inconsequential employee. However, after news of the Elysium Mall project was released, almost all the employees started treating Adriana differently. Only the employees that were loyal to Frederick and his children still looked down at Adriana. With the contract signed, Adriana became even busier, giving her less chances of spending time with Cedric. With both Adriana and Cedric extremely busy, the weeks flew by. They had so much overtime that they would come home Exhausted, at one point Cedric was tempted to use his driver to take them home, but he eventually decided against it, since it was one of the few times he and Adriana spent alone. Finally, both his and Adriana's hard work would soon pay off. Today Veronica was presenting the final design and model for Morco's office. It was also today that Eric's photoshoot and commercial would be approved by Cedric. They had already begun to release teasers on more phones. Relaunch and an event and press conference was already scheduled. Mr. Cedric, Miss Veronica is here to present the final design for your approval, Camilla announced. Veronica strutted in. She dropped her laptop on Cedric's desk and opened it. You're my only client that I need to get approval from. Did you know that? Veronica said with her hand on her waist and her eyebrow raised. As an internationally renowned designer, her clients trusted her taste and never questioned her. On top of that, everyone was desperate to have a Veronica designed anything that they were willing to take whatever she dished out. Cedric laughed at Veronica's sass. She hadn't changed a bit since they were kids. She stood at only 152 centimeters and did not even reach his chest. Cedric was not too tall. He stood at 180 centimeters and had broad shoulders. He got from playing sports. Next to him, Veronica looked like a child. Thank you, Veronica, Cedric said, grinning ear to ear. He had no plans of questioning Veronica's design. He trusted that she would give him the best office building in the country. Yeah, I'm the best. I've heard it 1,000 times. My awards are enough to prove that, Veronica said, shaking her head as she opened the file she wanted to show Cedric. We're going with a raw but modern industrial look for your office. Something simple yet timeless. Most offices, especially the tech ones, tend to go for that sleek futuristic look, but something about those just screams spaceship. We want to exude innovation and cutting edge without making it seem so literal, Veronica explained as they went through the designs. Although the theme will be industrial, we'll go with black and white colors to make it more sophisticated. We'll incorporate some of the existing structural elements this building already had, and most of the colors would be from the furniture. Cedric nodded in agreement. He had no qualms about Veronica's design. He had intended for this building to be 100% designed by the great Veronica. They went through more details, such as the feel of the lobby when people entered, how the meeting rooms and desks would look. The final thing they went through was the president's floor and office. It carried the same theme of the building, but this floor mostly had white walls with black accents to it. A connecting door was going to be added between Cedric's office and the boardroom. There would also be a lounge, which was more like a one-bedroom apartment, where Cedric could rest. Can you make me a model for this that we can show on our relaunch? Cedric asked, leaning back on his seat. I could do it better and faster if you would lend me some designers that can work with my computer programs. Veronica leaned on the wall and crossed her arms. Talk to Ian about it. Tell him what you need. It needs to be done in 3 days so that we can incorporate it into our presentation, Cedric said, taking a sip of his coffee. Do you want to see the design for your house? Veronica asked. Cedric checked the time. He had another meeting, but he didn't want to waste Veronica's time, so he told Camilla to move his next meeting by an hour. Sure, let's look at it, Veronica said, opening another file. Based on her files, Cedric could see from the amount of emails and files in Veronica's laptop that she had delayed many clients to work on his project. Suddenly a chat box popped out. It was called Princesses. Princess Nicole, bitches, I wanna go shopping. Nicole again. Let me reply. Veronica shook her head as she tried to reply to the group chat. Suddenly Nicole sent another message. Princess Nicole, at Princess Veronica, are you still in a meeting with Cedric? Tell him he's too slow. Cedric suddenly started laughing. Is your group name supposed to be a play on the 5 princess title people keep referring to us with? He asked, still laughing. It started out as a joke, but Nicole took it too seriously and it stuck. Veronica, who was also laughing, managed to say, look Veronica, I trust your design for the house. No need to show me, just tell me how much you need and I'll transfer it to you, Cedric said, shaking his head. Suddenly the chat popped up again. Princess Ayana, it's a guy again, isn't it? At Princess Nicole. Cedric laughed again as he took out his phone to take a photo of the chat. Nicole is going to hate you, Veronica teased. Don't introduce her to Ian, Eric, and Miguel will never let me hear the end of it. If you do, Cedric jokingly threatened. Veronica laughed and quickly closed her laptop and said her goodbyes to Cedric. That afternoon it was Eric that came by his office to do a photo shoot of them. Signing a contract, Cedric once again wore a face mask and glasses. The female employees of their marketing department couldn't help but sigh at the two men in front of them. Eric was taller and fairer than Cedric. He stood at 184 centimeters and simply oozed charm. I think Mr. President might be as handsome as Eric Chan, a female employee told her companion. The mystery just makes him seem more handsome, her friend said. The girls sneaked photos of their president and posted it all over. Once again Cedric and Eric managed to top the charts on social media. Chapter 28. A week had gone by and more phones. Relaunch day arrived. As a business partner of Alicia Corp, Adriana had been invited to attend. The event would be held at night and all the employees were invited to join. Most were attending since it was their chance to finally meet their mysterious president and to see Eric Chan live in person. Adriana had asked Cedric if they would see each other during the launch. Cedric told her that he might be too busy, but he would definitely find time for her. Cedric had arranged with Ian and Camilla to find a way to get Morco's president to leave right after his speech so that Cedric could watch the rest of the program with his wife. Unfortunately, there were parts where he would be needed, so they had to settle with Cedric joining Adriana after the program. When Adriana got to the lobby of Islands Inc., there were two Maseratis waiting at the driveway. She was wondering which big shot was meeting with her uncle Frederick that day when all of a sudden the door to one opened and an elegant lady came out. She was dressed for business without sacrificing being fashionable. She wore simple jewelry and had the same aura as a CEO of a big corporation. Adriana, the woman waved while walking towards her. 4 bodyguards followed right behind. Adriana suddenly realized that the woman she was so in awe of was Ayana Reyes, the lively girl that saved her in the watch shop, and she was wearing the watch they bought that day. Miss Reyes, do you have a meeting with my uncle? Adriana asked quite respectfully. No, I'm here to pick you up, she said, flashing her perfect white teeth. Looking at her, Adriana thought that Ayana could be an actress and still stand out. Hey Ayana, Carlos is waiting for us. Will you hurry up? A young-looking girl shouted from the other car. Sorry, that's my friend Nicole, she's a bit impatient. Come on. Ayana held Adriana by the wrist and pulled her into the car. In the Maserati there was another girl inside who looked younger than both Ayana and Ariana. She was slim and looked very mature. Her brown hair was tied in a bun and she leaned against the other door. Adriana, this is Natalia Sebastian, she likes science. Adriana smiled at the girl next to Ayana. Saying that Natalia liked science was like saying that Veronica liked to doodle on her notebook. Ayana had dragged Natalia out of her lab despite the latter being in the middle of an experiment that could help eradicate some genetic illnesses at birth. Natalia did not just like science, she led many innovations in it. Don't mind Natalia, she doesn't talk much, plus she's mad at me from dragging her from her experiments, Adriana said, as she typed away on her phone. Where exactly are we going? Adriana asked. Well, we are going to Carlos' studio. He's a friend of Veronica. We're gonna pick our dresses and have our hair and makeup done for tonight, Ayana told Adriana. Adriana just sighed. It seemed she was kidnapped by the shopping maniac. At Morco's head office, Cedric was choosing what to wear for the relaunch when the phone on his desk began to ring. It was Ray Lawrence. Yeah, Cedric asked over the phone. I thought I should tell you that your sister called the other day and used my plane to come home, Ray told Cedric. And you were just telling me this just now. Cedric sighed over the phone. Your sister has become quite bossy over the years. All right, she made me promise not to tell, Ray complained. When is she arriving? Cedric asked. Well, she arrived this morning, Ray Lawrence admitted. I'm sure she won't stir up trouble. Do my parents know? Cedric asked. He had full confidence that despite her sometimes odd and careless behavior, Ayana was mature enough to know what she should and shouldn't do. I'm not sure, she usually doesn't tell them if she's just here for a day or two, Ray admitted to his friend. All right, I'll give her a call, Cedric said, dropping the call. Cedric quickly dialed Ayana's number. It took a while before she eventually picked up. Brother, Ayana gleefully greeted. You need to stop harassing Ray for a Plane ride. We have our own. The Reyes family owns several personal planes and even a company plane for Reyes Group. But brother, it's cheaper to hop on a plane that's already there, Ayana explained. Not when you unload the whole flight. Don't be selfish, Ayana, next time just book a seat and not the whole plane. Cedric scolded. It's Ray that emptied the flight this time. I just wanted a seat, I promise, Ayana complained. Alright, so does this mean you'll be there tonight? Cedric asked his sister. He heard her giggle on the other line. Yes, of course, you made such a scene last time and I wasn't even in the country. I'm not going to miss this. The girls and I are at Carlos already, she told her brother. I'll see you later then, Ayana, Cedric said, bidding his sister goodbye over the phone. At Carlos' studio. Was that CE, your brother I mean? Nicole asked, almost saying Cedric's name. Haha, Nicole, you are the worst. Yes, it was my older brother, Ayana laughed. Miss Ayana, I think this is too much, Adriana said as an assistant showed her some pieces of jewelry to wear. Nah, those are quite simple, trust us, we won't make you look like some cheap social climber, Veronica said quite flatly. The sisters often made fun of social climbers that tried to snag one of their brothers. Sometimes women and men would approach them trying to get on their good side in order to climb higher in the food chain. They felt very annoyed by these people. I hate those so much. I'm lucky that my elder brother is so low profile that people don't know who to suck up to. Ayana laughed. She wanted to say that even if people tried to get close to him, her brother would just push them away since he was already married. Are you guys almost done? Katerina called from the other room. She had a sudden call with a client and had to work. As one of the best lawyers in the world, she often had to fly across different countries just to work. Yeah, we're just picking jewelry. Want me to pick for you? Nicole asked. No pink, Katerina shouted as Nicole was about to pick up a pink set. But you're so serious all the time. You need to be more feminine, Nicole said, still looking at the pink set before her. Then you wear it. Veronica, can you please choose for me? I don't trust Nicole on this at all, Katerina said before going back to her call. Why don't you guys ever trust me with these things? Nicole said, crossing her arms across her chest and leaning against a wall. I would trust you to pick a doctor for me if my life was on the line, Ayana said, putting her arm around her friend's shoulder. But I would never trust you to pick jewelry for me. You'll just make me wear that hideous pink. Everyone, except Adriana, burst into laughter. Adriana wondered what happened to the composed and powerful women that had picked her up in the office. She was also more curious on why they had dragged her along. After all, she had only met Ayana once. Adriana's phone started to ring as Cedric gave her a call. She quickly picked it up. Hey honey, as Adriana said this, the sisters all looked at each other and started to giggle. What an odd group of girls, Adriana thought to herself. Hey, how are you getting to the relaunch tonight? Cedric asked. Oh, Adriana paused as she thought of a way to explain to Cedric the predicament she was in. What's wrong, Adri? Cedric asked, curious as to his wife's odd behavior. Well, remember the girl that bought our watches? Adriana asked, tentatively. Yeah, Cedric already knew that his sister had kidnapped his wife. So, she showed up at the entrance of my office and dragged me along. We're at some fashion designer's showroom and they got me all dressed up for tonight, Adriana admitted. Alright, I guess I'll see you later, Cedric said in surrender. Chapter 29. More company had booked the largest and most luxurious hall in the Maharlika Hotel. Aside from the employees, Morco management also invited many famous personalities as well as the press. As an unknown subsidiary of Reyes Group, the highest-ranking employees of the group were also invited. The employees of More Company were very excited. This was their chance to see their mysterious president. I can't believe that we will see the president today. I spoke to my cousin from the marketing department and she said he was as handsome as Eric Chan. They did a photo shoot for the contract signing and they managed to sneak a photo and it trended all over social media. An employee said, as they waited for the event to start. Do you think he is single? I hope he is. I want to get a chance to be like my favorite heroines, another girl told her companion. Soon all the employees and press had arrived. They were surprised when the executives of the Reyes and Claren groups arrived. Sir, why are you here? A member of. The press asked as the executives passed. We're here to support our boss. One. Replied. Suddenly everyone within earshot was shocked. Since when was Morco purchased by the Reyes Group? Was this the reason for the relaunch and the change in president? Little did they know that in a few moments they would be even more shocked. The executives, instead of seating in the place of honor, sat with the directors of Morco, who were the big shots that would sit there. Suddenly a group of good-looking men and women arrived. It was the four princes, their siblings and parents. With them as well were the members of the Reyes family. Ayana entered with her arm locked with Adriana. What are they doing there? Everyone started to snap photos, phone and camera. Flashes illuminated the room. Wait, does this mean that the president of Moore Company is actually the heir of Reyes Group? A journalist assumed. Only someone as powerful as the heir of Reyes Group could bring these people to the same venue. I need to call my boss. This needs to be the headline for tomorrow's paper. Another reporter told his companion. The employees of Moore Company on the other hand were shocked. Did this mean that they were actually working for the Reyes Group, a company known to have high demands and high expectations of its employees? Everyone was confused at what was happening. No one expected news like this at the relaunch of a small company. Many people who had second thoughts on going were suddenly glad that they had come. Imagine missing out on news as big as this. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats as we will begin momentarily, the host announced in an attempt to calm down the audience. The photos snapped had already begun to circulate on social media. People were suddenly aware that all the four princes and their families had shown up to the event in the Hernandez family house. Dad, look, John said, handing his phone over to his father. Frederick had immediately noticed Adriana entering the event alongside Ayana Reyes. How does she know the Reyes family? Frederick asked. Maybe they met when she went to our tower, John suggested. No, the employees never mentioned meeting Ayana Reyes. Could it be that useless husband of hers is a member of the Reyes clan? Frederick asked himself. Dad, that's impossible. Cedric Reyes is a useless man that only relies on his wife. How could he be a member of such a powerful family? John refused to believe his father's theory. You're right, maybe she met her somewhere else. Didn't Adriana say she received an invitation to the event since Cedric works there? Maybe she's there as a companion for Miss Reyes, Frederick said, coming up with a theory that was closer to what they believed to be more probable. Asia is going to throw a fit when she sees this, John said, shaking his head. Sure enough, Asia came stomping into her father's home office. Why is she there? She asked angrily. Relax, Asia, her husband works at Morco. It's only natural that she's there. Also, she got an invite to attend. She's actually there on behalf of Islands Inc. Frederick tried to calm his fuming daughter down. I'm supposed to be the most celebrated daughter of this family. Why is Adriana getting all the attention? I will marry a better man. My position in the company is higher. My father is the president. Then why is Adriana there with Ayana Reyes of Reyes Group? Asia shouted. Her anger was loud enough to wake up the whole household. At Maharlika Hotel, Cedric stood at the center of the stage. He had a mask covering his face, glasses that he didn't normally wear outside the office. And he was wearing clothes way too fashionable of the ordinary version of himself. If you knew Cedric, you would say that it was definitely not him. Today marks a new beginning for Moore Company with a stronger partnership with Mr. Eric Chan. We will also be changing the image of our office building. This building will be redesigned by the famous architect and interior designer Veronica. Cedric invited Veronica to stand from her seat. She did as asked and smiled at the audience. She was aware that tomorrow her new building would be the talk of the design and business world. Adriana sat at her seat, staring at the man on the stage. His build was the same as Cedric's, his hair the same color and length, his voice was exactly the same, but this man was still different from her husband. Cedric would never wear such a fancy suit, he would never have such a powerful aura, and most of all, Cedric was not the heir to Reyes Group. Chapter 30. The heir of the Reyes Group remained on stage, unmoving and staring at the audience. It was the first time Cedric had noticed Adriana in the crowd. She was seated in between Ayana and his mother. She seemed like she was truly a part of the Reyes family. She was dressed in a form fitting navy gown that had inlaid diamonds that sparkled as the light hit her. With every movement, he wanted to jump off the stage and carry his wife home. Cedric was drawn back to reality when he noticed Ayana laughing in the audience. He cleared his throat and continued his speech. Our dearest guests, employees, and members of the press, I would like to invite you all to try the latest phones in More Phones product line. Our goal is to bring you a product that you can take to other countries and be proud of. We at More Company thank you for your support. At that the crowd burst into applause. Adriana could see Ayana Reyes and her parents who were seated next to her. Beaming with pride, Adriana couldn't help feeling proud too. Her husband worked for this company, and their months of hard work was finally paying off. We will now allow for members of the press to ask questions. We would like to request that the press avoid personal questions, the host announced. Cedric, Eric Chan, and some directors from More Company took their seats in an area set up on the stage. Mr. Eric, is it true that you are endorsing this product free of charge? A reporter asked. Instead of Eric being able to answer, Ram, who was seated near the stage, burst out in laughter. Cedric motioned for Ian to hand Ram a mic. Yes, his endorsement of More Phones is free. It's a gift from me to an old friend. Ram grinned, handing the mic back. On stage, Cedric wanted to laugh as well. This was not the first question he had expected the press to ask. Mr. Reyes, does this mean that Reyes Group has purchased More Company? Another member of the press asked. No, More Company has always been a subsidiary of the Reyes Group. That answer from Cedric shocked the audience. All along, they thought that the Reyes Group had purchased More Company when in fact More Co. had been owned by the Reyes Group from the very beginning. Mr. Reyes, why do you refuse to show your face? Someone asked. I prefer to keep a low profile. Cedric immediately answered. Mr. Reyes, what are your future plans for More Company? Another asked. I plan to build More Company into one of the top device manufacturers in the world. With our relaunch and new products, we plan to introduce ourselves to a global market. Mr. Reyes, you have been gone for 13 years. Are you in a relationship with anyone? At this question, all the women in the room held their breath. Most of them, even those that were married, were hoping deep down that they could have shot at this mysterious man. I don't mind questions about me, but if the question may potentially involve another person, I refuse to answer. It was the first question he refused to answer. The women in the room started to whisper among themselves, trying to figure out what he meant. My brother is amazing, isn't he? Ayana asked Adriana. I guess he is, Ayana said, tentatively. In her heart there was only one person, and that was Cedric. You don't seem impressed by my brother, Adriana, Ayana asked. She knew how much her brother loved this woman. She could also sense that Adriana had an undying loyalty to her brother. She longed for a love like that. Mr. Reyes is very impressive. He has achieved a lot of things at such a young age, Adriana admitted. All these women are hoping to have a chance with him, but my brother's heart belongs to only one woman. Even if the most beautiful woman here were to strip naked in front of him, he would never cheat, Ayana told her sister-in-law. If you really love someone, no one else can compare, Adriana said in a daze. I envy people like you and my brother. You both have found true love, and you both have the chance to be with the one you love, the elegant young woman said with a smile. As Adriana and Ayana spoke, the press couldn't help but take photos of the beautiful Adriana as she sat next to Ayana. From what they knew, Ayana was closed off to people. She didn't make friends outside her own circle. She never brought people from the outside in. So, this arrival of a new person at her side made everyone extremely curious. After the Q&A portion of the event ended, Cedric changed back to his normal clothes and messed up his hair. As planned, Mr. Reyes would no longer have any appearances on stage after the Q&A. This was to give Cedric a chance to be with his wife. Ian approached Adriana and told her that they were going to be allowed time off already and that Cedric had asked him to fetch her. Adriana nodded and followed Ian to the back of the audience. Ayana pulled out her phone and messaged her brother. Ayana, you are no fun. Mom and Dad love Adriana. Why did you have to take her away? Cedric, she's my wife, stop stealing her. Ayana, I love her more than you now. Cedric, are you really my sister? At that, Ayana refused to reply and just decided to let her brother enjoy the night with his wife. Cedric stood with Camilla at the back. Everyone else's attention was on the stage. As the marketing team presented the latest commercial and endorsement shots. Done by Eric Chan. Cedric, Adriana,